Okay, let's dive right in. We're about to explore the single most important job your brain has. And it's a job that shapes every single decision you make, every emotion you feel, and every goal you chase. It really all comes down to a fundamental prediction problem.
So, what do you think it is? To think, to feel, maybe to remember? Those are all good guesses, but they're actually secondary to its main function. The most crucial thing your brain does every second of every day is this. I know it sounds almost like science fiction, but your brain is at its core an anticipation machine. Neuroscientists even have a cool name for it: making future. It's constantly using your past experiences to guess what's coming next, all to increase your odds of survival and, of course, reward. And this whole prediction engine runs on two core drivers: a carrot and a stick. Let's start with the carrot.
So, this is the reward system, and its currency is dopamine. But here's the really interesting part: your brain doesn't just release dopamine for getting a reward. Nope, it releases it for the surprise of the reward. It all comes down to a simple but really powerful little calculation. When the reward you get is better than what you expected, your dopamine neurons fire like crazy. This is what researchers call a positive prediction error. It's that little jolt of pleasure that basically tells your brain, hey, whatever you just did, you should totally do that again. Now, what if the reward you get is exactly what you predicted? Let's say your paycheck hits your bank account on the exact day it always does. Well, there's no surprise there, and with no surprise, there's no change in dopamine. Reality just matched your predictions, so your brain has nothing new to learn. And then there's this one, the one we all kind of dread. When the reward is less than you expected, your dopamine levels actually take a nosedive, dipping below the baseline. This is a negative prediction error. It's that feeling of disappointment, and it's a powerful signal to your brain to avoid whatever led to that outcome. So the key thing to get here is dopamine isn't really about pleasure itself. It's about learning from surprise. This story about a Japanese vending machine from neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz is just the perfect example. So he's in Japan, he can't read any of the buttons on the machine, he just presses one at random, not really expecting much, and out pops his favorite juice. That's a massive positive prediction error. His brain immediately learns that button is gold. But of course, when it fails to work later, that unpleasant surprise, the negative error, forces his brain to update its prediction and learn all over again. That's our brain's reward system in a nutshell. Always learning, always updating based on surprise.
Okay, so that was the carrot, the whole system that pushes us toward positive surprises. But the prediction machine also has a very powerful stick. This is the system designed to protect us from negative surprises. And this system absolutely hates one thing above all else: the unknown. The horror author H.P. Lovecraft totally nailed it way back in 1927. And you know what? Decades and decades of research have proven him right. Our brains are just uniquely vulnerable to uncertainty. When we don't know what's coming, our prediction machine tends to go a little haywire. Think about this. Studies have shown that for women with suspected breast cancer, anxiety levels are highest before the diagnosis, not after. That period of waiting, of just not knowing, is often way more psychologically taxing than actually receiving bad news. And why is that? Because getting an answer, even if it's a bad one, gives the brain something concrete to work with. It resolves the uncertainty and gives you back a sense of control. This right here is a core feature of anxiety. For a brain with a high intolerance of uncertainty, the mere possibility of a threat is treated like an actual real-life threat. The prediction machine just can't resolve the ambiguity, so it gets stuck in this loop of hypervigilance and worry, always preparing for the worst. All right, let's circle back to our reward system for a second, because it definitely has a dark side. Remember how it adapts to predictions? Well, that constant adaptation creates a problem. A reward that was once a fantastic surprise very quickly just becomes the new normal. Dr. Schultz calls it the little devil in our brain, and it makes sense, right? To get that same dopamine spike, you need a bigger and bigger surprise. The amazing reward you got yesterday just becomes today's expectation. This is why we're never really satisfied for long. We get used to the car, the house, the promotion, and the prediction machine immediately starts looking for the next, bigger reward to get its fix. So, while the reward system can lead us on a never-ending chase, the threat system can lead to a state of never-ending worry. When our intolerance of uncertainty gets really high, the brain's prediction processes can start to malfunction and spiral into chronic anxiety. Researchers Group and Nitschke
actually identified 5 key ways this happens. The anxious brain starts to inflate the odds of something bad happening. It becomes hypervigilant, seeing potential threats everywhere. It really struggles to learn when a situation is actually safe. It starts to avoid things to prevent bad outcomes, which only reinforces the fear. And on top of all that, it has this huge emotional reaction to uncertainty itself. And look, these 5 patterns aren't just psychological quirks or bad habits. They are linked to real observable changes across a whole network of brain regions, like the amygdala, the insula, and the prefrontal cortex. This means that practicing anxious thoughts actually strengthens the neural pathways that support them. You're literally wiring your brain for worry. So here we are. We've got these 2 powerful, ancient systems, one chasing positive surprises and the other running from negative ones. Both are at the very heart of our brain's prediction machine. So the big question is, how do we live with this wiring without letting it run our lives? This slide just sums it up perfectly. These 2 systems are really just 2 sides of the very same coin. The reward systems chase for more, and the threat systems worry about the unknown are both driven by the brain's fundamental, deep-seated need to predict and control the future. And this is the crucial takeaway. The underlying neural architecture, the hardware, that's pretty much built in. This prediction machine is a product of millions of years of evolution. But our responses, our thought patterns, the code we run on that hardware, that's the software. And that we can learn to manage. So how do we actually do it? Well, research points to a few really effective strategies. Focusing on the present through things like mindfulness literally pulls your brain out of that future-oriented worry loop. Actively practicing letting go of what you can't control helps to calm the prediction machine down. And here's the fascinating one. Actually scheduling a specific worry time, say a 20-minute slot each day, just to let your mind fret. It sounds weird, I know, but it trains your brain to contain its worrying instead of letting it spill into your entire day. Ultimately, your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It's trying to keep you safe and secure by predicting what's next. It's an incredibly powerful tool. But knowing how it works, understanding its hunger for surprise, and its deep fear of the unknown, that gives you the power to direct it. So the question really is, how will you choose to aim yours?